Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about, are you healing in no contact or are you just waiting?
I'm just waiting. I'm just in queue.
Yeah, all right. Sit there forever and be miserable. No, a lot of people really get stuck in no contact with only ruminating about if their ex is coming back. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to help you. I'm telling you guys, I have seen what works and I've seen what doesn't work. And you always want to look at the situation in a positive way. Like, expect them to come back. And if they don't, and you've been focused on that growth, you're going to be far more likely to feel better sooner than if you're just watching their stories and wondering what your ex is doing.
Right. And many of you that are very intellectual are in analysis mode, right? You're trying to interpret and pick apart everything that your ex is doing. And this is not healing, right? This is like micromanaging. This is trying to get to the bottom of the story. This is investigative work, right? This is not healing and reflecting back on the relationship, on how you could have shown up differently, on, you know, what factors were triggering you, on what was triggering your partner, on how to be supported, how you could have been more supported. So when we're talking about real healing in no contact, we're talking about something different than just letting time pass. Many people think that no contact is very passive and they get very angry about that. Like, I want to do something. It's not active. I need to be, doing something to fix this. But no contact can be very active in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to discover about yourself through no contact if you take an active approach in no contact for yourself.
That's right. But you may not see what's going on with your ex. So many of you guys are like, well, no contact's not working. Well, how do you know?
Yeah.
Just because they haven't reached out yet doesn't mean it's not impacting them or they're not feeling it. Mm-hmm. You don't know that.
Right. I want to take a second to talk about time distortion in no contact, because this is a big part of it too. Time can feel like it's slowing down when we're so laser focused on hearing from our ex. We're checking our phone every hour. We're, trying to see if they've messaged us or if they're showing up at our house sometimes, right? Yep. So we get so focused on this one particular thing that it kind of overtakes our brain and it distorts time, and it makes no contact feel like it's grueling. It feels like it's work. It feels like it's taking so long. And so
it's so hard because it's like you don't know where to put your energy. That's why we have the workbooks and the creative healing course, so you could put your time into something that is focused in an area that you're going to like, because it's about a breakup and learning about your breakup. But it's not just wasted time. There's so much wasted time where you're just sitting around and you're like in this endless carousel of thoughts.
Right. Another thing I see is that many of you are very enthusiastic about growth, and that can make you very public about it, right? And this could be something that can, and we warn you, it can come off as manipulative if your ex sees those things. And
they're going to see through it.
Yeah. The real healing comes from those moments where not everybody's seeing, right? It comes when it's like your thoughts keep going at 3 a.m. and you decide to pick up a journal and write those things out. The true healing comes in more of that struggle,
You're going to look desperate to them, whether you realize it or not. Your ex is going to be like, oh, okay, you're posting all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. It's great. And I hope you helps you in your next relationship.
Yeah. And I would say I would much rather you take one. We know that there's a lot of, emotional content out there, but we would rather you take one thing that resonates with you and reflect on that, maybe even use that as a journal prompt, than post like 50 quotes on your story.
Don't do it, guys. Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Remove your apps if you have to. If that's the only thing that will keep you from doing it, because you're not helping your chances. I'm in therapy 6 days a week, and I'm in this and that, and I'm reading this book. Your ex is going to see right through it. They know you're doing it to try and be, oh, you've changed, huh? We've been broken up for 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, it makes exes angry. It's not helping you. If it worked, we'd tell you to do it.
Yeah. And just be aware of that type of performative kind of healing, right? Healing is something that does take time, and it can be something that's kind of difficult to be measured. Sometimes it's happening and we don't even realize it's happening until we take a look back and kind of reflect back and be like, oh my gosh, I've grown so much since the day of the breakup or the first week of the breakup. So it takes time. Healing is typically not something that's super flashy or like a moment of enlightenment sometimes, but not typically.
You might
it's
have
slow.
moments,
right?
Those aha moments,
right? Exactly. Yeah. But typically it's not like you're healed all in one, all in one moment. It takes time, and it takes slowly chiseling away at what you're working at.
Yeah, absolutely. Therapy is great if you can find a great therapist. I was very fortunate that I have Margaret. And did I show you the stack of case notes?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It's so thick. It's like literally this thick of case notes with Margaret. I got all my case notes recently.
Wow.
And I was blown away how big the file was. But that's what I did. And the first note is from the breakup with the Applebee's girl.
Wow.
And, so there's notes for years. And that was before we brought her on board and started to talk about coming on board. And the notes kind of stopped as, she was coming on board. Mm-hmm. So we were incredibly lucky to have a brilliant mentor who understood so much about mental health and attachment and adoption and bipolar disorder and borderline. I mean, she taught us so much. And so we've incorporated all this stuff and mental health into breakups, because really understanding breakups, you have to understand mental health. Mm-hmm. And that's why you got to be careful with a lot of this toxic advice out there, because none of these people have been trained in mental health, and they speak as experts like they know all this stuff.
Right.
And it could be dangerous.
Yeah, you definitely have to be cautious of the type of media that you consume, because there are also certain communities that might feel very empowering in the moment, but take you in a completely different route that leads you away from that type of healing and is very destructive.
You wind up becoming really angry at the opposite sex, and you blame the opposite sex for your problems, when the reality is that men and women have their issues. We all as individuals have our issues. And a lot of our anger is really about the anger we have towards our caregivers. And so you need to take a look at your relationship with your mom and your dad and how that might be coming out in how you see men or women. Mm-hmm. But it takes time to get to a good place where you can look at those things honestly and not just blame everybody else for what's happened in your life.
Right. So therapy can be immensely helpful and is immensely helpful for a lot of people. It's also important to think about how present you are being. And when I talk about presence, I don't mean like being some kind of 100% enlightened person, that doesn't get distracted. Being able to be present means being able to redirect your thoughts, even if it's 1,000,000 times. We understand that after a breakup, your cognition is shot. You're not going to be able to focus on things very well, likely. You're probably experiencing high anxiety, and maybe the tasks that you're typically really great at doing, maybe you're not as great at doing those things anymore, or you're, noticing some changes. So being able to be present is noticing that, but being able to redirect yourself back to the present moment, and we find that there's that difference between just kind of waiting, ruminating on the same old things that you're ruminating on. When is my ex going to come back? When is my ex texting me? What is my ex doing? What is my ex thinking? And we ruminate on those things so much. And we have a lot of videos on those because we know that those are big questions and we want you to have some different perspectives on them. But we want you eventually to get to that place, almost like a meta place, thinking about your thinking. Like, what are the things that I can think about here that will lead me to real growth? What skills can I work on in this time that can improve myself as a partner? And even
you want to ask real questions that you can look at.
Right.
Like, okay, where did we struggle in this relationship? Where did I struggle? Have I had similar patterns with other people that I've dated? What will happen if they come back? What will be our issues? Where will we have to improve these things? I mean, these are just a few things where I'm thinking off the top of my head that you have to make the priority, these kinds of questions, and then doing something about it.
And I want to add that life also keeps going after a breakup. So when I talk about presence, we encourage a lot of you to dive into your social support circle. We encourage many of you to get into hobbies and be around people, because many people have the tendency to isolate during a breakup.
Yep.
But being present with those new experiences and new people is so important in healing, actual healing.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the other part of it, is presence to improve yourself, but also presence for the sake of presence and enjoyment and being able to relax, because so much of who we are is co-regulating, right? When we're around other people, we are co-regulating with them. We see, them smile, we see them interact, and that signals to our brain that connection. It signals to our brain safety, and that's a lot of what we need after a breakup. The last point we want to make here is this paradox of choice. So sometimes when we think we need this person to heal, we're actually inching farther and farther away from our real goal. Meaning that if you have this view of, I won't get better unless I hear from my ex, I won't have the opportunity at love, I won't be able to feel relaxed, I won't be able to soothe, I feel so lost without this person, and you really hold true to that belief, that's going to lead you so far from a sense of security and safety.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we want you to think about. The more you're able to learn how to self-soothe and be able to have that emotional strength, and emotional strength doesn't mean suppressing things, by the way. It means being able to let those emotions surface, face them for what they are, and be able to manage them. Then the more secure we will feel, and also in turn, the more your ex will have that opportunity to see you for who you really are, you and your authentic self.
It's not easy to go through this. Mm-mm. And we always talk about letting them go to get them back. And so when you heal, when you really process, you really put words to it, you really think about the skills that you want to incorporate into who you are and become more secure and confident, the more you're genuinely getting to a better place within yourself and not coming from a place of desperation. Because if your ex comes back and you've only desperately been waiting for them, you're not really going to be yourself. You're going to be like, I need you, and putting pressure on them. And you're not going to be able to act attractive because you're so scared of the outcome, right? You can't be scared of the outcome and enjoy the process and trying to repair it and enjoy spending time with them again. It's not easy. I remember that feeling of you're kind of stuck in that dynamic of they don't want to be with me and I have to convince them to repair this. But that's not attractive at all. So when you really do the work and you get to a good place, you'll naturally be more present and more balanced within yourself, where you're able to show I'd like to repair this, but if you don't want to, I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to try and change your mind.
Yeah. And so we really want you to be able to focus on yourself. We say it all the time. It's so cheesy. Focus on yourself, but it's true. One thing that can help is periodically checking in on yourself, being able to say, what do I need right now? A lot of times we are, what is my ex doing? What's going on? Oh my God, am I going to lose my chance? Oh my gosh, what if this happens or that happens? One way to ground yourself, just pretty simple, is just to ask yourself, what do I need right now? So hopefully we've given you a couple tips in this video on how to gear more towards healing and making some of those real changes, instead of just twiddling your thumbs and waiting for time to pass and, not doing the hard work that's so worth it.
Hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.